My name is Frank Kramer. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Dearborn County Election Board. Present with me are Ms. Wendy Beatty, the clerk of the Dearborn County Clerk, as well as Peggy Clamp, also a member of the Election Board. We have, purpose of this hearing is to consider a complaint to the Dearborn County Election Board signed by Glenn D. Wright. I'd like to mark this as Exhibit 1. Mr. Wright?
Go over.
That'd be fine.
Imagine you have all had an opportunity to review the complaint.
Yes, we have.
Okay. And I'd like to thank you for taking your time, because I think elections and election integrity is very important. And as you can see here, there has been advertisements put out on behalf of Mr. Thatcher. I do have a copy of the May 2024 Bright Beacon. It's a half-page ad. There is no paid for by on this. Okay. Pass it down, Peggy. Also, excuse me, I also have a,
Hold on, Mr. Wright.
okay,
I'd like to mark this as Exhibit 2, please. You may continue, thank you.
okay. This is a copy of the Lincoln Day dinner program. There's a center ad here for Mr. Thatcher that does not have a paid for lot on it. So I'd like to enter that. In summary, the Bright Beacon claimed 22,000 household distribution per their information sent to all the candidates in the media advertising kit. The Beacon stated to one candidate that they did not prepare ads, that the ad had to be given to them in a format ready for printing. The program from the Lincoln Day dinner was distributed to all the people attending. The Bright Beacon, according to their publication they gave us, is sent to 22,000 households. Mark Dole, during his disqualification hearing of 13 candidates for public office, stated they were disqualified by party rules, even though 2 were veterans. However, the Indiana Election Division has an IC code 3-9-3.1 that specifically deals with political signs and disclaimers regarding advertising. That was given to all candidates when we filed to run for office. When we signed up to run for office, this information also includes a specific penalty according to IC code 3-14-1-3 if this is violated. I believe that the Dearborn County Election Board has a responsibility to treat all parties in the election fairly and be transparent in their decision, whether a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. Okay, that's all I have.
Mr. Wright, the third document that you referred to, is that marked Exhibit 3?
Excuse me? I couldn't quite hear you, Frank.
If you'll hand that to Mr. Wright.
Exhibit 3.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I should have handed it to you so you could look at it.
Yes, I've seen them, yeah.
Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2,
This one. Yes,
pardon me, Exhibit 1 is the complaint.
yeah.
You've seen it,
I was informed of it.
okay? And Exhibit 2 and Exhibit 3. Do you want a moment to look at the complaint?
Nope.
All right. All right. You may present, sir.
Okay. All ads sent to me, I reviewed for accuracy and to check that the paid for was on that particular ad before I approved it. And I approved all the ads that came over to me because it contained all those necessary qualifications. That's what I have to say.
Do you have an explanation? It does not appear that exhibits 2 and 3 have the disclaimer. Did you notice that?
They did have the disclaimer on it, yes. The ones that I reviewed had the disclaimer on it, the paid fors.
But these do not.
Yes, and I think Ms. Taylor can explain some of that.
All right.
Do you have what was sent to you that you actually viewed?
I do. She does.
I've got copies of it here as well with,
We have documentation for everything and communications.
All right.
My name is Tamara Taylor. I own the Beacon and FX Design. As a part of the Beacon, I am the owner, the publisher, and the editor. We take full responsibility for the Beacon ad not having the disclaimer on there. Absolutely, 100%. And I'd like to explain how the Beacon is produced. We get stories from our writers and we get ads from our advertisers. That's it. We take them, we paginate them, we put them into the layout of the Beacon, and we send them off to be printed. Before they're printed, there are four people who proof the Beacon every month, plus a proofing program. Things get missed, just like in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, anywhere. That's why we have errors and omissions. I'd like to refer to the March 2024 Beacon and how the process works. When I am the final proofer. I'm the last one that sees it. I make PDFs of the files and I send them to the printer in Quebec. The printer prints the job, ships it to the mailing house in Cincinnati that puts the mailing information on, figures out the postage, figures out the cost, makes sure everything is correct, does all the paperwork for the US government, gives it to the post office, and the post office sends it out in mail. The next time I see it after it leaves my desk is when you see it, when it hits the mailboxes. In March of 24, this is the front of the Beacon, the first page, the PDF file that was sent. If you'll notice, there's a purple box on the front. It's beautiful, it's perfect for the Catholic event that
Can
it's
we mark this
representing.
as Exhibit 4?
Four. That's what I sent to the printer. This is what you got in your mailbox. Note, the purple box has a white spot. It's not what I sent. Things happen, digital concerns happen. It's just the way it is in the industry.
This is March of 24. This is a copy of the newspaper.
It is.
Can we mark this Exhibit 5?
The same scenario occurred with May of 2024 with Commissioner Thatcher's ad. I cannot explain it, I don't understand coding. It just happens. This is what was sent to the printer. The paid for line, as you'll note, is on there.
And this is,
Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6. And you're saying, this is what was sent to the printer?
Absolutely.
All right.
This is what we got back, which, do you want this since you already have it? We can make it exhibit 7 or 2 again, whatever you would like. I did not see it, I could not have pulled it before the postage was done. I saw it when you saw it.
This is Exhibit 7.
Yes,
This is the,
it's the same as exhibit 2, I think.
Yeah, it's the same as exhibit 2.
Mark, this is Exhibit
I
7.
just let them know someone was raising their hand, that's all. I didn't know if they were able to talk or not, and
No.
it's fine.
As soon as I noticed and figured out what happened, I personally did a post on the Beacon Facebook that read, "An error occurred during the print production of the May issue of the Beacon. The disclosure line on the political ad for Jim Thatcher read, paid for by the committee to keep Thatcher, was not transcribed in the production process. The error has been corrected on the digital version, which can be read at www.gobeaconnews.com. The Beacon takes full responsibility for the omission. We apologize to Mr. Thatcher and anyone else who noted the error." This would be exhibit 8.
How did you notice it?
Out of my mailbox.
So that's, you noticed it by you looking at the print and noticed that that wasn't there.
Right. And then I researched how it happened. This was posted on April 19th. These printouts were printed on April 25th.
Mark, this is Exhibit 8.
I also have a copy of Mr. Thatcher's email approving the job. It's actually a copy of the email that was sent to our courts as well, where I had pulled the documentation that I received approval of the ad from Mr. Thatcher and a copy of the ad on it, and a copy to clerk.
Mark, this is Exhibit 9.
In closing for this part of it, again, the Beacon accepts full responsibility. We did the production files, we sent it to the printer, we paid the printer. So, as the owner, it's my error. Any questions?
Mr. Wright, have you seen these documents? You're welcome to look at them.
At what point?
What was the date that you posted the Facebook post?
It's on the side there, 2019?
4/19?
Yes.
These are Exhibits 4
What date were
through
you,
9. Okay.
contacted by Lynn Devens?
Did you mark yours? Did you mark yours?
22nd, 23rd,
I
24th?
got them in order.
Definitely after the post. And in our ad contract, it says something about errors and omissions. It's very, you need to say common, you don't try to make mistakes, but
No, I
it
understand.
happens. Yeah, absolutely.
so.
You can keep all of these.
Okay.
I would appreciate that if there's clarification that this is given, that is to be not used in part on social media.
Let's make sure they're.
This is for.
Get my numbers right.
Let's see.
This is the example for March.
Exhibit 4.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is her example for March. So that's exhibit 4, and this one is 6, I think. This is what was set for May.
There should be 5.
That I received.
This is exhibit 6.
This looks the same. Yeah, that's 6.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wright, do you have questions of Ms. Taylor?
Yes, I do. You, according to your advertisement, you send out 22,000 copies of the Beacon. I personally did not see your retraction. as far as
Sorry,
the
I don't see your posts on Facebook either. And I've not had another issue come out from the Beacon since that occurred.
But
So,
my
no.
question is, 22,000 people, according to you, got your paper. How many of those people on Facebook that would have seen your retraction?
How many people see your posts?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So we can't definitely say that 22,000 saw it. Because I've talked to a lot of people that aren't even on Facebook.
This is not a public forum. Is there any other question about the Beacon part of it?
About what?
About the Beacon part of your complaint?
No, my complaint is the fact that 22,000 advertisements were sent out. And
What is
22,000
the
advertisements were wrong.
What is the question?
Well, who's responsible for that?
I am. I said completely am responsible for that being not on the ad.
But I don't
There
think
is
that's
no
what.
argument, it is my responsibility, I hired the printer, I took care of the digital files, I am responsible, period.
So what does the code say? Because it goes back, I believe, to the candidate on the code.
Is there a
Well,
problem
she's
with
not
me
a,
taking
she's not a lawyer.
responsibility?
Right.
But that's
I don't believe you're a lawyer, Amos.
I am not, thank goodness.
Do you have any questions of Mr.
No, no, I don't. I think the question's been answered, that everybody that received an ad from the Beacon.
The question was who's
Did not know.
responsible, and I said, I am, the Beacon is, as owner of publisher and editor, I am responsible. There's your answer to your complaint.
First, we have the complaint, it wasn't there. We're all here so we can find out why it wasn't there. And if
Right.
it was something that somebody did intentionally, or if it was by accident, and then we have to refer to the IC code on what we do about it.
Right.
So right now, the opportunity is for her to tell us why it is not there, and this was the opportunity for Mr. Thatcher to come and say, this is what I looked at, I approved it, it had it on there, something happened, and then go from there. If he had not been able to prove that, or doesn't prove that, then we would have to refer to the IC code again and do whatever we need to do. So that's the process that we're taking right now. And then the next thing we'll address is the Lincoln ad.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any more questions on the Beacon.
On the Lincoln Day, Mr. Wright was correct. Beacon does not do design. FX Design does. I've had that company since 1989. One of my designers did Mr. Thatcher's ads. I sent, the artwork was approved by Mr. Thatcher. I sent the artwork to Steve Pope, who handled the printing of the Lincoln Day ad. Here is the email, and I will be referring back to this again. Remember the number, I apologize. 10, okay. On page,
Mark this exhibit 10.
yes. Since emails go backward in their correspondence, if you look at page 2, it shows that I sent a Lincoln Day ad, which was a JPEG. This is the JPEG that was sent to Mr. Pope. It has the paid for on it. This is 11.
Yes.
It has an 1/8 of an inch bleed for reference, which is industry standard.
This is exhibit 11.
Yeah. If you'll refer back to the email on page 1, Mr. Pope asked, can you send me a PDF and convert the outline to text? It needs to have a 1/4 inch bleed on all sides. So my designer went back and put in the 1/4 inch bleed, and also in that process, the photo on the left-hand side had to be adjusted for width. The paid for dropped behind the photo. I did not catch it when I sent the PDF to Mr. Pope for printing.
First of all, Mr. Wright, did you get exhibit,
Here's a.
Yes, I got it.
11?
Here's 11.
I think 11.
Yes, sir.
Two things occurred. One, it dropped.
Also, Mr. Wright, exhibit 12.
Your answer's nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it dropped behind 12, as well as, thank you for bringing the Lincoln Day program, Mr. Wright. As you'll see on the inside of the Lincoln Day, the photo, Mr. Pope decided not to bleed the image, which is a much more cost-effective decision on his part, on the program itself. Where did the program go?
The program's up here.
Okay.
Can I see it, please?
So there were two changes that occurred, unbeknownst to Mr. Thatcher, because he paid for a full page with bleed. A full, it's called a truck, a double truck, 2 pages split. Again, As owner of FX Design, I'll take full responsibility. My designer did it, I hired her, I sent it to Steve. I was the gatekeeper.
Do you have the emails when Mr. Thatcher approved this?
I do not, I could not find them. I get about 2,000 a month.
Do you have your emails where you approved this?
No, I have so many things to take care of, I can't keep up.
I will swear on, if that's a Bible, that I did receive approval because I never would have gone it.
Mr. Wright, any questions, Ms. Taylor, regarding the, Lincoln Day?
Well, you know, I'm not a computer wizard, but I know that you can doctor or change PTOs.
Are you questioning my integrity?
I'm not doing that, I'm just saying,
Thank you.
I know that that can be done,
I get a little bit testy about that.
you know, and that's not a question. Because
Did I doctor it? No, I did not.
So it's all the printer's fault.
On this, it is not the printer's fault, it is my fault. I did not catch that a file is made up of pieces of paper. When one is worked on and another falls behind, that's what happened. And I did not catch that it fell behind. Period. End of story.
You know, the strange thing was, every other candidate in that program.
Are we addressing any other candidate today?
No, I'm just
Okay.
saying, that document, every other candidate has a paid for.
We are not addressing that. We're addressing my error on this.
Any further questions?
No.
Any further evidence, Mr. Thatcher?
I think the presentation pretty much spells out that I did everything I was supposed to do before it was, published.
You have a closing statement, Mr. Wright?
Basically, what I said in summary, you know, I respect you guys, and I know you want a free and fair election like everybody else does. And whether it's a Republican or Democrat, my only question would be, if the shoe was on the other foot, what would happen? You know, if one of the other candidates, other than myself, had done this, what would be their penalty?
If they were my client, I would get up here saying exactly the same.
That's all I've got.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Any of the board members have any questions?
I do. Mr. Thatcher, did you notice in all the other publications that Mr. Lytle?
Right.
Mr.
Right, I'm sorry. Mr. Thatcher, in all of his other publications that he had that endorsement on there. Did you notice that?
I couldn't hear you.
Did you notice in all of his other publications that that was on his,
Yes.
okay.
Well, I guess it's time for us to deliberate. Want to do that now, or you wanna do it some other day?
No, we'll do it now. I'm okay with it being now. Are you okay with it being now? Are you okay with it, Frank?
Sure. I think we ought to adjourn to another room so we can discuss these exhibits. Where might you suggest?
process to close.
First of all, we can understand why Mr. Wright filed this complaint, not having the information that was presented here today. And we thank you for bringing it to our attention. But we also find that Mr. Thatcher did all that was reasonably required of him as a candidate in making these publications. And as a result, we can't hold him responsible for something that was not in his control. And accordingly, the board finds that the complaint is dismissed. All right. Any questions?
I have a question. Just as a resident and a citizen of the county.
What's your name, please?
My name is Brian DeBruler. I reside in Bright, Harrison Township too. My question is that in such a hearing as this, I was told by the person at the podium that I wasn't allowed to speak, as opposed to one of you board members addressing, and I wasn't speaking, I was raising my hand.
I apologize, it just said public, this isn't a public forum.
I didn't feel that it was the person that was answering questions positioned to instruct me as to what my rights are in this meeting. And I just wanted to point that out. And I did feel that I had valid information that pertained to some of the questions that were being asked of everyone in the room, including Mr. Wright, Mr. Thatcher, and Ms. Taylor as well. And I just was, for my own knowledge, if someone could explain to me the rules of engagement in a hearing such as this, I would greatly appreciate the knowledge going forward for my own benefit or anyone else that I may share it with.
Well, the purpose of the hearing was to hear the evidence that was presented. We tried to give both sides a full opportunity to explain their position and what happened.
Sure.
If you want legal advice, I would suggest that you contact a lawyer.
Sure. No, I wasn't looking for legal advice. I just want to know what my rights are as a citizen of the community to be
Well, that's what
involved
you ask
with.
lawyers for.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Thanks for everybody.